It's that time to rest from the daily grind. Time to slip off your shoes, get comfortable, sit back, and relax to topics that will excite and soothe your soul. Welcome to the new Dale After Dark. Here's your host, Dale Benadum.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dale After Dark, and I'm your host, Dale Benadum, to be exact. Tonight's guest is got quite a topic I've never heard of, and she's got quite a story to tell. Maybe taboo to some. I don't exactly know the details, so this is a first time for me. I've gotten a bit of a glazing over of just the parameters of it, but this is going to be a learning experience for me tonight as well. So, this is a misunderstood secret lifestyle that originated since civilization came to man. This is one person's observation of this lifestyle. And for the privacy reasons, we're going to call her simply Citizen M. Yeah, welcome to the show, Citizen M.
Thank you, Dale.
So, M, what is this that you... let me ask this first. When did you first... How did you become aware of this, and when did this all start for you?
Well, actually, when it first began, was in my childhood, and we all strive to serve our parents and make our parents happy, and to achieve goals to make them happy. So it actually starts when you're very small. You're in servitude to your parents. During my growing up years, there were some problems, and so I ran away from home. And a man found me on the streets and offered me a place to stay and food to eat. All I had to do was clean his house. I figured, okay, that's cool, and I didn't know anything about sex or anything of that nature at that time. And I understood male and female and that there was an attraction, but I was too young to really get the meaning of an interpersonal relationship with another individual. So he took me in and gave me a shelter and he gave me food, and so I had a place to lay my head at night. And it developed into something a bit odd. I would clean his house, and that, I felt, paid for my room and board, so to speak. Well, it became more and more and more, to the point of him touching me. And when I wouldn't let him touch me, he would smack me. And eventually it got worse and worse and worse, to the point where I was being tortured. And then there were other girls being brought in, and they were being tortured. So my first experience with this particular lifestyle was of an extra nature, meaning, yes, this individual was a dom or a master, but he also was into bondage and discipline and sadomasochism. And those are two different things as opposed to the master-slave relationship.
Okay, so we're talking, you say this is a lifestyle. For the general public and myself, I immediately think that this is just a form of control and rape. Is that what this is?
No, not at all. Not at all. If we go back, 4 or 5 generations, okay? Our great-grandparents or grandparents, whichever, I'm not sure how old you are. But anyway, when a man married a woman back then, he was considered the breadwinner. He had the last word in decision makings. It was none of this new age stuff of, two people making decisions for the household. It was the man's word, and he had the last say so. So basically, servitude has always been around.
Well, you mentioned to me that this goes back to when civilization came to man. Can you give us a little bit more clarity as to when civilization came to man?
Oh yeah, basically, you got to consider. Now we're going back centuries and centuries and centuries. We know that the Greeks had servants. We know the Turkish had servants. We know China had servants. Um, Egypt had servants. We're going way back where servitude began. So this is not anything new. It's been going on for centuries. It's
Right.
just that it's not known because of the new ways of thinking, so far as everybody being equal in a relationship.
Well, let's just say for hypothetical, reasons, the last 100 years.
Okay, that'll work. But even still, I would say more the last 50 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I can even remember, my parents. My father was very dom. My mom was submissive to him until the revolution in the 60s happened and everybody became more of an equal.
When you say dom, is that short for domineering?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we got the dom down. All right. Go on.
Well, anyway, the man being the breadwinner and the sole financial support. So, of course, the woman is going to submit to him all of her needs, all of her concerns, etc., etc. And he is supposed to provide and take care of her. And then she takes care of the family and the home. So in a way, she becomes more like a switch because she has to dom over the household. So she becomes a dame.
Got to dominate,
A female,
domineering matrix or
no, a female dominator.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that yes, women wasn't considered anything without the title, and marriage was, a woman not being married was could be considered somewhat of a lifelong sentence of just turmoil if she didn't have a title, have the married name. So it's yeah, that was God, that goes back before the women rights and women vote. And,
yeah, before the 60s.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what we're seeing here is history that even predates probably even Egyptian times, back before even the written word.
Oh yes, even
wow.
back then, they had slaves and they had concubines. Concubines meaning women that were not married into the family, but were a slave type. And even in the Holy Book, you are allowed to have concubines. If you married a woman that could not bear children, your concubine would take that place. She would bear the children, but the wife would raise them as her own.
Well, there's the story of the biblical story of, what is it, Sarah and, was it Abraham? Was it Moses or Abraham and Sarah? Sarah thought she was too old to bear children, and God said, oh, hold on a minute, not so fast. And she thought she was too old to bear children, so she offered her servant up to him. I think it was Abraham. Could be wrong on that, but as the story goes. So, yeah, okay, I get it. I'm getting the gist of it. I'm getting the foundation here. So, all right, so fast forward to the here and now.
Here and now. This particular lifestyle still goes on today. And you would be surprised at how many people are involved in it. Oh, my word. And countries. And here in the United States, it's very fluent, and it's behind closed doors. No one sees it.
Guess you could title that under the title of Some Habits Are Just Hard to Break.
I don't know if it's habits or what, but
hobbies, whatever, lifestyle. Hey, there you go.
It is a
Uh,
lifestyle. It really is because, you are in servitude. If you're a sub or a slave, if you're a dom, believe it or not, my opinion, you're also in servitude because you have subs and slaves that depend on you, and you have to do certain things to take care of them. So in a way, you're serving them back, but don't tell them that.
well, this isn't a cult. Let's get this out of the way. This has some. I'm feeling some connotation of kind of cultic kind of living.
No,
May have been practice. It may have been practice in certain cults, but this is something that's in you've discovered that's in mainstream living right here in good old USA and all over the world, right?
yes, yes, it's all over the world. Some of the countries is unbelievable how many multitudes there are that are into this lifestyle. And this is not just, everyday Joes. These people are high up into offices.
Okay, so let's dive into the examples and what you have experienced.
Um,
Back to that.
well, so far this year, I've had one trainer and two masters. Um, and it's, it's, it's really a lot of work when you're trying to become the best person you possibly can and to be able to serve the right person. It's hard to find the right person. That's why I've had two masters. And the trainer that I had was very, very strict. I had to do lessons. I didn't have a choice. The reason I chose a trainer to retrain myself was because I was away from it for many, 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 many years. And I felt it was time, since I'm alone and my children are gone and I'm not married. This was the perfect opportunity for me to retrace some steps and find out who I really am.
Hmm. So who are you, Citizen M?
I'm Citizen M.
You're in service to the masters.
Oh yes, I love my master very much. He's my world. Um, if I have a problem, if I want to share an emotion with him, um, if I just want to talk about goofy things or anything like that, he's always there for me, 24/7. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Um, and he really wasn't looking for a sub, and I wasn't really looking because I was in a confused state when my first master decided to um, remove time from our time. He could no longer give me the time that is needed for his subby. His family and his job took precedence. Real time, of their life, um, takes precedence over subbies and slaves, unless you're in a living situation.
What What do you mean in a living situation? You mean living with them
Living
as a
under his
family?
roof. Living under his roof. As like a concubine.
Well, yeah, I can't help to think that this has some dark incantations to it. How deep down this rabbit hole in our society does this go?
All the way to the top, honey.
Uh, Explain all the way to the top.
People in high positions are into this lifestyle. Some of
High
them,
positions like what? Are we talking like bankers and lawyers, attorneys, judges,
you got it. Keep going.
heads of state?
Keep going.
We'll talk globalists.
Keep going.
Oh, jeez, really? Higher than globalist? Huh. Help me out here.
I don't know if you've ever talked about the cabal, but they're basically the top doms.
Well, that's what I meant when I said globalist. I don't think there's anything good about these people. They're hell bent on becoming living gods, and they're doing, in my opinion, they're doing a bang up job at it because the majority of humanity just seems that they enjoy their slavery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't
Well,
know how else to say it, you know.
They don't really know anything else because they're not allowed to know anything else. You know, you've heard people talk about being programmed. There
Well,
you go.
yeah, that's
There you go, right there. You know, and basically being a sub or slave is programmed, just as being dom and dame is being programmed. But they're different stations.
you know. I always wondered if this went on, and at the top saying, you know, I have seen, oh, geez, through the years, the last decade, I've become aware of what's been going on. This, yeah, we're talking about the elites, the families, the royals. You know, I mean, they have to have a source of entertainment, and they can get pretty dark, dark and dank. And it just seems like it's just spinning up into full throttle here as of this last year. The examples. Oh, geez. There was a young lady. I can't remember her name. She went by an alias too, I believe, and you know, she talked about being a slave for for the royals. That she described seeing the Queen Elizabeth come into her full reptilian true body, and she was not at all the human that she portrays herself to be in a skin suit. And this young lady witnessed literally a thrashing of a body that was right above her, and she was chained to a wall. And yeah, it's like a horror story made into a movie, and we're seeing a lot of that crap. Oh yeah, speaking of which too, did you notice how Halloween started a month early this year? Yeah, everything was celebrated and starting the 1st of September. I'm like, well, wait, hold on, wait a minute. Usually this kicks off around the 1st of October. Here we are in September. Anyway, let's get back on topic. So, yeah, this is what I referred to, and what I'm recognizing is this movie years ago. The last movie Stanley Kubrick made was Eyes Wide Shut. And this movie was a portrayal of these ultra uber super elites that gathered to do one of their cult ritual, whatever you could call it, not a seance, but just a cult event that involves sex in servitude and women dressing in provocative manners and having sex on damn near anything and everywhere, and they're all wearing masks. They all have their faces covered.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise and his wife then Nicole Kidman played in this movie. Yeah, very dark.
Well, you know, that's the BDSM thing. That's not the master sub relationship at all. That's a whole different thing. Now, like with BDSM, which is bondage and discipline sadomasochism, that's a whole different scene. Now, it can be implicated in any lifestyle, even out here, you know, in the open. But, you know, a lot of people believe that the BDSM scene is the master-slave relationship. It's not. It's not at all. It's far from it. You can implement it into the lifestyle, but that is not the lifestyle.
Okay.
See, that's where it gets misconstrued. You know, everybody's, you know, you say master, they immediately go to the BDSM idea. And that's not what it's about at all. A master-slave or master-sub relationship is built on trust and respect of each other.
Well, then one could say that this is a form of what the Amish maybe have been practicing all these centuries. Or should I even bring them up into this?
Oh, you can. I don't know much about the Amish.
Well, what you're describing sounds a lot like how the lifestyle that they live, but this is more of a sexual. Yeah, that's not fair to throw the Amish in there. Let's just say that we're seeing this.
A master sub relationship does not have to have sex in it.
Oh.
See,
Okay.
that's the difference. See, people don't realize that. They think, oh, master sub, that's got to have sex in it. You have to, you have to be humiliated. You have to be beaten and all this. No, that's crap. I'm sorry, that's crap. That's not the lifestyle. The lifestyle is based on trust and respect and communication of all things. You have to be able to communicate. If you cannot communicate with the individual that's either above you or below you, not meaning that they really are, they're just, they're actually standing straight in front of you and you're straight in front of them. It's built on a trust. It's a relationship. It's an actual relationship, just like marriage is. And if your subby is devoted to you, if you're being a master, it is a marriage. It is a marriage of the previous 50 years. She will serve you in whatever means possible. Does not necessarily mean it has to be in sexual favors. And if you are a master, you are to care for her financially, physically, emotionally, mentally. You are to help her learn. You are to help her to achieve. There's a lot of responsibility in owning a sub or a slave. It's not something that is light. There's a lot of responsibility. You have to be able to be 3 steps ahead of your subby to see things happen before they do. Well, you have to be able to read people that are around you or around her or him. We have male subbies also and male slaves.
Well, give us some real examples that you could speak of your own personal experience. Just give us some examples that you've, of this lifestyle.
Okay. Now, here again, some of it does involve the BDSM because of the idea of implementing the BDSM into the master-sub relationship. An example is, a few days ago, there was a sub that came in. Actually, she calls herself a slave. And she wanted myself or my master to own her. Well, I couldn't do it because what she wanted from me, I couldn't give her. And she was into pain. I'm not. I'm very vanilla. I do not like pain. And my master knows this, and he will not inflict pain upon me unless it's a punishment for something I did. And I have a mouth on me, and I don't know how to control my mouth or my thoughts. And so I kind of blurt things out, and he looks at me sideways, and he marks down in this little book, and, every time I mess up, he marks it down. Well, at the end of the week, we discuss it, and he asks me what kind of punishment I want. And I always tell him something that doesn't hurt. But he says, well, how are you going to learn if it's something that doesn't hurt? And I'm going, well, I will, I promise. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want a spanking. I don't want to be on restriction to where I can't go anywhere. Those things do hurt, It doesn't have to be a physical hurt. It can be, being put on restriction. Now, for somebody that is used to having the freedom, being put on restriction hurts.
Well, but you're saying that you willingly submitted to this kind of things, and you're using the word slave and concubines. Where do you have?
There's different levels to the lifestyle. Okay, you have your dom and dames, which are your master and mistresses. They are the providers. Then you have your submissives, which have a lot of rights, as opposed to a slave. The sub can speak her mind or his mind as to whether or not they agree about something or not. And they have this option anytime they decide to invoke it. And they can change their positions with their master or mistress. They don't have to be in the same position. You can change the rules. You can change the ideas. You can change concepts. Because we're always growing. You know, a good master or mistress provides learning. And through learning, you grow. And as you grow, things change. So you have the option of changing it. Now, with a slave, which is a lower step down than a submissive, at the time that the contract is drawn up, that is the only time that a slave can state his or her needs. And that is something I'm not, something I don't want to be. I've been there, done that with my first experience.
So wait a minute, you have contracts.
Yeah, just like a marriage certificate. Except we don't have to divorce each other.
You know, this is really, I'm going to try to hold my emotions here, but to me,
and believe it or not, Dale, there are states here in the U.S. that have laws about this.
So I don't ever see
the state and find it.
Oh man, yeah, you've opened this is a real interesting subject. So what we have is a volunteership of citizens who willfully are signing in and up to a contract to become servants or slaves. Is this for their own survivability? I mean, have we gone so far down, the whole in depravity that, people are doing this just out of survival?
No.
Or by choice?
Mostly by choice. People go into this lifestyle by choice.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what they choose they want to do with their life. They're adults. They can make, consenting
okay, so another thing that comes to mind is the women that are, that become, well, let me just say it. This brings to mind motorcycle gangs. And the women that are a part of that, they're there by choice?
Yeah.
And they're owned.
Uh-huh.
I've heard this in the past in my childhood, and I'm like, wow.
Property of.
Property of. This is a part of that.
Uh-huh. Well, that's part of the Gorian part of the master-slave dom relationship.
Uh-huh.
See, there's different types. There's old school, there's new school, there's Gorian. Gorian is a little bit more intense. I don't know much about that other than they believe in branding or tattooing or piercing their property.
Different yokes for different folks.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm not a pain sub. I'm very vanilla. I'm extremely sensitive to what my master needs from me. Even though he gets really frustrated with me. Oh, he gets so frustrated with me.
Well, what's some of the punishments this person's handed down to you?
Mostly restrictions. I've gotten restricted.
Restricted in what?
And not being able to do certain things, like if I want to go out, go shopping or something for a new purse or a new outfit or something. If my total, my total marks for the week totals up, he won't give me the money to do it and will tell me that I have to stay home.
Also, there's financial gain to be had in this.
Well, not financial gain. He's taking care of me.
Well, so that's a form of reward, is
to behave
I don't want
yourself,
to call
you
it
can
a
go shopping.
salary, but it's kind of like an allowance. Then you're afforded an
Yeah,
allowance.
you have, like I said, it starts at home with our
Yeah.
parents, you know.
Right.
And most women that come out of a family situation are submissives.
Yeah.
Um, the male submissives come out of a very strong female dominant family.
I hate to say this,
Oh,
but this sounds a lot like an orchid. This sounds a lot like the foundation of the church. Yeah. This sounds an awful lot like the church, the way things used to be.
well, you got to figure everything is connected.
Yeah.
All of our history is connected to what's going on today.
Okay. So, where does, or do you know about, where does this human trafficking come into play with this?
Oh,
This is a big issue now.
yeah, I
This is
know.
a taboo thing and is all over the world, and I know it's been going on here for some time under the
This,
cloak of, darkness here in this country.
this is where the slaves come in. Okay,
Yeah.
the slaves, like I said, the only time that they have a voice is at the time of signing of contract. Now, if you don't research your master completely and find out who he is and what he's about, you can end up being involved in that. You have to be very careful about who you're signing that contract to, because if you are a slave, that's what you are. You can be traded off. You can be sold off. No questions asked. See, with a subby, that doesn't happen. You have a choice. You can walk away.
Well, just sitting here pondering, my mind's rolling, my mic's muted.
But so far
The
as these people being stolen and trafficked that way,
Now let's just here's a real life scenario. How many times have we seen it on television in the movies here? A good example of seeing a container full of Chinese.
well, that's immigration. Now, that's not necessarily, has anything to do with lifestyle. That's just immigration there.
So this sounds like this is more about to do with the exercising your free will of choice and utilizing this to have some sort of status in your life that's kind of underground.
Yeah, basically, and it's not a cult, like a lot of people think it is. It is a lifestyle. It is a free choice, free will.
These aren't just necessarily women. These are men too.
Yes. There's a lot of submissive men out there, and they come to me and they all want me to dame them. And it's like, I only dame if I have permission from my master. I don't just go out and do it. No, I have to have permission. I have to be in good rapport with my master in order to take that step if I want to. If it is my choice to dame or to be a mistress or madame to a male sub. But there is responsibility with that.
Well, I mean, I could let my imagination run wild here and say, well, geez, this sounds like a lot of the premise. It sounds also a lot like the, organized crime families and, the way they would handle things. Are there times when, does this have a dark side, a dark undertone to it where you're demanded you're ordered to do things that you wouldn't normally do under your own free will?
Well,
Or, like, let's just say, for instance, someone gets out of line, they're going to be slapped around a bit and beat up. Does this happen? Is this what the slaves are doing, or
okay? I'm going to tell you right now. This is what Every master I have ever come in contact with, including my trainer,
Yeah.
each master is different in the way and methods that they live and how they conduct themselves with their subbies or slaves.
Okay.
Each method is different. Each master is different. Their ideas and concept of the lifestyle. Now, some masters and mistresses implement BDSM into their relationship. And if you don't agree, you don't have to follow it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a submissive, if you are a slave and you're looking for that, then you will find it.
Sure.
You know, it's about choice. It depends on what you want as an individual.
How about your own experience? What do you choose? How give us some more personal experience here.
Well, like myself, I'm a sub switch, meaning I am a sub first to my master always.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if he chooses for me to say there's someone on the couch that is either a slave or a subby, okay? And he wants to test my ability for my domination, okay?
Yeah.
He will say, you have my permission to dame that individual. I want to see how you do it. And if they will respond to you. And if they don't respond to you, what do you do? Okay. The first time I did it, it was the wrong way. I walked over to the individual and I said, would you mind crossing your legs? Because I don't want to, see your open legs. And the individual looked up at me like I was crazy. I said, I asked you to close your legs, please. And he just kept looking at me like I was nuts. So I slapped him. Oh, I got in so much trouble for that. Oh my God, I got in so much trouble. Because he says, no, what you do is you turn around. You say it once. You say it twice. If they do not respond, you turn around and walk away. And 9 times out of 10, that individual will close their legs.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's not about pain. It's not about punishment. It's about listening and obeying.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a true subby, you will do as you're told.
Wow. My own
If
personal
you're one of these that think, that it's all about BDSM, you're not going to get it. And you're going to walk away feeling yucky because you don't get it. It's not about pain. It's about listening, obeying. It's about respect and trust. It's about learning. It's about growing.
Well, this explains to me now, this is bringing some light into what I've seen in my life growing up and working for employers. I can't help to think that maybe this is what some of this has been bled over, the way I've been treated by employers and God knows so many others out there.
Uh-huh.
This bleeds over into that, and I tell you,
that.
there's been several instances where, my emotions got the best of me, and I left the job cold cocking the boss just because he, how dare you speak to me? I'm not your damn slave. I'll be damned if I'm going to take this from you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they're just absolutely evil to the core, downright mean and nasty, think they own you.
Yeah.
So is this where this is stemming from?
Not this lifestyle, but a lot of people that are in this lifestyle are in managerial positions.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes it bleeds over into their work.
Yeah.
So, I almost called you sir at the beginning of this interview because you are the person in control of this interview. Whether you claim to be dumb or not, just the position of me being interviewed to you, by you on this program, in a sense, you would be a sir. a dom.
Okay.
And I caught myself just as it about left my lips. I almost said, yes, sir, to you.
Well, there's no sir required.
Well, I know that. But see, this is how my mind thinks.
Right.
This is how I developed myself so far as respect for another individual. If someone comes into the room that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure, if they're a dom or a sub, I will always treat them with respect as a sir because I do not know them and I don't know who they are, and my actions reflect my master.
I can't help this. Keep going back to employerhood and whatnot. I mean, how many instances have we seen where you've got the originator of a company, the creator of a company, always has an assistant right on their heels,
Mm-hmm.
right next to them.
Uh-huh.
The owner's got the ideas and the imagination, barking out orders to the assistant. Well, in what relation would this personal assistant be? A dom or the matriarch? How does that equate to what you're involved with?
The owner of the business that is that developed the business, he's the master. And he delegates to whomever below him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in this case would be an assistant manager.
Chain of command is what they call it in the
exactly.
Right.
And it goes down that way. Even back in medieval times, and even today, there in England, you have a chain of command, and it's the same way in a master sub relationship. If it's a poly situation, meaning more than one subs, then he will choose a one. See, that's where I'm at. That's my position. I'm a one. And because I'm a switch, it makes it easier. If he's away, he leaves me in charge to take care of things.
What's a switch? This is what a switch is?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And that's more of a new age type thing. Mm-hmm. It's not been around for a long time. The word itself, but the position has always been around, meaning that you are the number one up from the other subs. You are the next one closest to being a master or a dame.
Right.
This.
Well, in the Navy they called them XOs and COs, commanding officer and executive officers.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
That's not just Navy. That's all. That's in every command in the armed forces here. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's true even in the family situation. In our family situation, the father is the head. Mm. The mother is second in command.
CO.
And then you have your oldest, your middle, your youngest, your baby, and it goes down like that. And we all share in the responsibilities, but it's still chain of command. It's still.
So, what other purposes does this lifestyle serve?
Well,
does everyone have their own jobs and they all live under one roof?
Well, excuse me a minute. Okay, like with me, my kids are all grown. I don't have a husband or a boyfriend. And for me, it gives me a family belonging. And as a lot of us, older adults, once our kids leave home, and if we're single parents, we're kind of lost. We don't have that responsibility anymore. So we're kind of lost.
Yeah.
And we're searching. And, some of us want companionship, not necessarily a sexual relationship, but a companionship. And this particular lifestyle fulfills that need.
Okay, so there is a lighter side to this. It does fill a void, and it serves as a companionship for those that, I kind of feel like an orphan now. My family's gone. I'm pretty much on my own now, and wow. So there is it's kind of like you're adopted into an adopted family
Yeah, exactly.
with benefits.
Oh yeah, big time, and you're not just stagnating, you're actually learning and growing while you're in this family. Now, a lot of people, like this new age stuff. It's boyfriend, girlfriend, either one of them can be the dom, or it's husband and wife, either one can be the dom, but it's only behind closed doors. In other words, it's only in the bedroom, not out in view of
I
everybody
think
else.
there's a lot of this going on without the title of what you're describing. It just goes on without any cognitive understanding of what they're doing. Just something that comes naturally. An incident comes into play. There was a husband and wife couple. Oh, this goes back years. They were both police officers. One, I think, was a deputy, and the other one was a officer. And boy, they were into a lot of, I don't know if you would call it swinging or, yeah, man, they had a lot of. He would sell her off and pimp her out, and they would do things together. Sometimes they would swing, and there was benefits involved there. I think there may have even been others in their departments that were involved in this. And my question is, here I'm taking it down the dark road here.
Well, it's Dale After Dark. What do you expect?
Well, there you go. How many now are involved and been given special privileges under the cloak of secrecy that are now I mean, it's become so corrupted and it's affecting society as a whole. I'll give you the perfect examples. How many examples are we seeing right now where the lawlessness within the departments with these laws being passed under the auspices of the patriarch, where they're just beating the living crap out of people and shooting and getting by with it? How dark is this? I mean, is this? You said a while back that this goes to the very top. So this whole thing with the Bohemian Grove, I can't help to think that this has not helped humanity thrive
Well, it
and
has
move
and it has.
forward.
It depends. Like I said, it depends on the individual's idea of what is. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
you can take it to the dark side or you can take it to the vanilla side. It doesn't matter. It depends on the individual. Like I said, I'm very vanilla. I'm very sensitive.
Right. Oh, okay. Let's take this to the light side. Let's just stick to the positive side. Uh,
What is
we
vanilla?
we know of the Mormons having one husband, many wives. Is this
That's
a little bit
poly.
what you're talking about?
That's poly.
That's what?
That's poly.
Poly?
Yeah, that's what we call it. Poly. Polygamous. Poly.
Okay.
Okay. Um, in our relationship, my master and myself, I have a brother. He's not related to me,
Right.
but I have a brother, and he is also a sub switch also. And we share our master so far as our responsibilities through house chores, doing the lawn, doing the laundry, the cooking, the dishes, dusting, you name it. Um, Going grocery shopping, getting the lawnmower repaired. These are chores that we have to do. I'm thankful I got a brother because otherwise I'd end up doing all that stuff.
Well,
You know,
what are you getting out of this?
the opportunity to learn and to have somebody there that loves me for me.
The master?
Yes, my master.
So are most of these masters what is there a sense of wealth here? I mean, come on. You're
Yes, a
okay.
lot of yes. The old school masters definitely have a financial status because this is how they work their life, all their life. They have,
Okay.
you know,
So
it,
the next question is, to be one of these, do you have
you don't have to have
you have a health insurance plan that goes along with this?
you can if you want it arranged that way.
Really?
Yes, yes, you can. Um,
So M comes down sick, or you fall and break a hip. What's in
uh-huh.
store for Miss M?
Okay, if I don't already have my own insurance, which most subs do, because of their life previous to being owned, um, the master will provide the insurance coverage for you, or will provide the financial for paying the bill. And if you're in a poly situation like I am, my brother would take care of all my nursing needs.
Okay. All right. So there is definitely some attributes, there benefits to this. This is not just, well, it's a lifestyle, but you've got something. It's an exchange
Yeah,
of devout servitude, and you're taken care of in the event that you, let's just say, do you collect a salary, or do you say, hey, my refrigerator's empty, I need some food, and it's given?
the money is given, yes, or the food, yes.
Well, now, okay, so
And all I have
we're
to
in
do
a
is support.
desperate time worldwide, and a lot of America is suffering right now, un- brought on by these very ones that you're talking about, the dark ones at the very top, that are doing this on purpose. So, would it be suffice to say that they have successfully created this new subculture that will one day be their so-called paradise? Is this what's in store for those that comply?
No, everybody has free will. Remember that. Individuals, as long as they still have a mind left, have free choice, free will.
Even a slave?
And yes, yeah, even a slave. In the long run, if a slave decides it doesn't want to be that no more, they can leave.
Well, wait a minute. You're telling me they signed a contract?
Yes,
Well,
they have to discuss it, with their master. Um, they may, okay, for instance, if they had a lot of accidents and the master paid out financially,
mm,
for insurance stuff, this person will have, if they leave the service of this master, they may have to reimburse the master, of that money that was paid out. That does happen sometimes. But most times, that's why you don't hear too much about slaves, leaving their masters. I've known slaves that have, been with their masters for 30, 40, 50 years. And their master passes away, or their mistress passes away. And then they're kind
yeah,
of on,
I'm. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but I am
you're
just
flabbergasted.
saying. I'm starting to see what once was has always been. It just went quiet or dormant. But I hear so much of this, my experience in the whole New Age Love and Light movement. They use this terminology, beloved masters, and I'm wondering if this isn't what the undertones are to this. Because
Well,
my experience with this one group seemed to be very controlling of the beliefs, and it has turned very cultish.
see, the difference here is, You can still have your own beliefs. You don't have to believe the same way your master does.
So there is a freedom of expression.
Oh, heavens, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Even if you're a slave, if your master is Catholic and you are Presbyterian and you don't believe the same way, but you do believe in a creator, um, you have the option of administering to your soul the way you see fit.
This sounds an awful lot like a cat house scenario.
A cat
woman,
house?
let me explain. Woman goes in, let's just say, like a scenario very similar to the Mustang Ranch. I'm not going to use the guy's name. I'm not going to bring his name into it.
Okay.
But he once owned the Mustang Ranch. He's got himself, I wouldn't even call the hair. Let's just say a group of women that know of him. They choose to go in, and there's got to be some rules. And let's just say, okay, they sign a contract of the do's and don'ts and what you can and can't. And if you follow the rules, hey, you get some benefits. And I guess these benefits can be very risque. And this sounds a lot like this. Yeah, lucrative as well. You get status. Your name gets thrown around to other groups that are maybe in the same field. It's kind of like you're building your resume, and this is no different than any job that I've ever had. It's just it's what you're submitting yourself to.
Yeah, it's what you want to allow into your life.
So really, this is a vastness.
What you choose to do with your life.
Yeah.
And what path you decide to take is your choice.
So these masters...
And there are people out there that will help you along the way.
These masters can be anything from the backwoods old Mom Paul kettle up to the executive branch.
Oh, yes. I met when Dom, he is from the hills.
Yeah.
And he expects a woman to do as she's told and not talk back.
Sure.
Not to speak unless she's spoken to. And this is his heritage, okay? This is his upbringing, as well as his beliefs in a particular church.
Well, I had a grandfather, one of my grandfathers.
And he just recently lost a sub due to health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And he is brokenhearted bad. I mean, he doesn't even speak hardly anymore. When we see him on the streets, we'll say, pleasantries. We'll say hello, and ask how he's doing, and he'll just mumble and turn around and walk the opposite direction. This type of relationship is exactly like a husband and wife situation. You lose a loved one, it's going to affect you. We are loved. We're not just possessions. We are loved. We are cared for. And it goes way deeper than even marriage does, because it is a choice that both parties make, to be devoted to each other.
Well, I'm going to say this in a positive tone. The crap ever hits the fan and the power goes out and people are in survival mode, this could very well turn into be the kind of groups that we've all been talking about. Well, no. Let me back up. I have partaken in this kind of talk in the past on my shows about people of like minds grouping together, learning to live in a really small town neighborhood kind of group setting, protecting one another, getting all the survivability and the preppers together and saying, okay, let's plant our stakes, let's build the fort, let's build the stockade fence, and we're going to protect it come hell or high water and protect everyone that lives within, that carries on the life of a very small village. This has all of that, what it appears to me, a structure of a command that relies on each other's compliance in an agreement, in a setting that could have all of the workings of a survival group that's working in harmony.
Well, it's just like, the indigenous people. they had their tribes,
Mm.
and everybody worked for each other. Yeah, they had separate families, and responsibilities there, but as a whole tribe, everybody worked for the tribe.
Right.
You know.
Well, the saying in prison, when you go to become an inmate, you better pick a gang if you want to survive.
Yeah, again, there we go. I mean, everything is about survival. Everything is, being the best you can, growing and learning, in bounds and leaps, or even in trickles. Our whole existence on this planet depends on our survival.
Yeah.
We're
We're not doing a very good job of it as a species, are they?
No, not right now.
Mm-mm.
I'm really disappointed in the powers that be, because I'm not sure if they realize that what they're doing to this planet is actually doing to themselves.
Yeah, and I refer to them as the retarded humongoloids.
But anyway, not naming names, I think they need to go back to school.
I think they need to be removed from the planet and go somewhere else where they can just, take away all their toys, give them a barren planet, and say, "Here's your new home."
Well, see, I'm vanilla, so
this one and put up a doggone fence that says you must qualify and meet the parameters.
Well, it's like this. I'm vanilla. I can't go there. I'm not one for pain. I'm one for learning and growing. I strive for that. I try to help other individuals learn and grow.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of satisfaction when someone asks me, "Why are you so devoted to your master?" And I always tell him, because he loves me and he accepts me for me.
Humanity never ceases to amaze me. Wow. What a world. What a world we made. But it's, I'm not going to sit here and say that this is, an acceptable, it just is. We see this partaking in nature. Look at, lions, pack animals. Mm-hmm. They all have a master. They all have one that sits there and
delegates.
Go to fisticuffs and delegates. Same thing.
It's just like horses and buffalo and
elephants. Look at the elephant kingdom.
Oh yeah, there we go with the elephants. Yeah.
So this is just another form of the animalistic aspect of humanity playing out what they just do instinctively with the limited intelligence and
we're limited intelligence too, because we have been programmed to believe a certain way always. And
yeah,
this is
who programmed us? Who was that one that stepped in and said, "We're going to," again, this is something I've been researching. It goes back to the work that Zecharia Sitchin did with the discovering the Anunnaki. And when he was alive, there was nobody that would stand toe-to-toe and debate him, because he was the only one that was able to decipher this stuff that he was uncovering. And
it's just like the Sumerian texts, look into their lifestyles. And, they were back here before the planet was even fully developed.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to go eons back, because...
well, let's look at what the Anunnaki did.
Well, they had slaves.
Yes, they created this whole... what do you call it? Monarchy or oligarchy? But they taught the slaves how to mine. They taught them how to plant. They taught them to fish. Well, I would even go as far to say they may have partaken in creating, the DNA encodement to create man. I know the Christians are going to be up in arms saying that, but who was this God of man? Who is this God of man? You know, it says in the Bible that we went down and created man in our image. Well, who is our? You know, we're hearing plural here. It wasn't just one God. So, good goodness, this you know, this is the aspect in the as part of the creation of man. Gee, you know. Okay, so here we are now in the here and now, and your how long have you been involved with this?
See, I was in my teenage years when I first became involved, and then of course I did the family thing and
Hmm.
college and so forth, and then of course my kids grew up and left home, and I've been kind of a free bird for a while. Um, and I came back to this lifestyle probably maybe 2 years ago, and I was in training for quite a while, polishing my skills, meaning my yes sirs, no ma'ams, my curtsies, holding my curtsies, kneeling in proper position, addressing it within conversations, when to speak, when not to speak, when. See, and I have a big problem with that one. My master shakes his head at me all the time, saying, "When are you ever gonna learn?" I'm trying, I'm trying. But
Hmm.
being an adult, an older adult, you are set in certain ways, and you just blurt it out there
Right.
without realizing the consequences of your words, And I don't care what people say; words do hurt. So
Hmm.
when we speak, we really need to look at what words are coming out of our mouths. Um, and this is something that my master is really pointing out to me as of late. He said, "Your actions, your words reflect me.
Oh,
Don't,
there we go. Yeah.
don't, reflect a bad light on me. I won't appreciate it."
You know, one of the worst
So
phrases.
I strive in my life, real time, in real life, to show that my master is a good master, that my master teaches me proper manners, that my master is my world,
Hmm.
you know, and I respect him and trust him wholly. Um, there's nothing I wouldn't do for him, even if even if it meant taking a bullet for him. I would, because of my devotion to him. I love him that much,
Yeah.
just as I would, take a bullet for one of my kids. You know, um, that might be, way way deep for a lot of people to understand, but it's the truth. I feel that much devotion to this master. My former master, um, he was good for me so far as uh, progressing my training. But this master has taken his time with me, has taught me an abundance amount of things that I was never aware of, even through my adult life. Um, and the responsibilities of being a sub as well as being a dom or a dame. Um, like I said, there's a lot of responsibility involved in this type of lifestyle, and
Now, as far as
I can't really give you examples of all the lifestyles because of the responsibilities, other than the fact that um, my position, I am to take care of his needs in whatever means is possible. Does not mean that I have to go out and do something illegal to make him happy. Does not mean that at all. Does not mean I have to go into his bed and give him sex the way he wants to. That has nothing to do with my willingness to serve him.
okay, I'm getting a better, yeah, I'm getting a better clue at this. This is, I get it, and it's something that's just totally foreign to me. Is this a network of people of other masters that know of these of the families that know of each other? I can't help not to think that they don't.
Well, most doms nowadays, most masters and mistresses stay to themselves because of ridicule, because of different ideas. Like I
Hmm.
said, there's old school and new school. Um, the new schools don't get along so much with the old school because the old school has a proper protocol, whereas the new school just basically throws protocol out the window.
Mm.
I like the protocol. I like curtsying. I like bowing my head, in respect to an individual, that is in a station above me, such as being a mistress or a master. I like that. It makes me feel good that I can show respect in
Hmm.
that manner to another individual I have no idea who they are.
Well, I can't help to think that you can't find some of these groups probably hidden away in some of these adult websites, and I'm sure there's Facebook groups out there that are probably flaunting this stuff. And um, yeah, I guess you kind of would have to keep this under wraps and under cover. It really is kind of a taboo subject that ever did make the light of day. I just I'm
Well,
seeing
see,
the potential of so much hypocrisy
here's the
with the
thing.
elites and what they've
Here's the thing.
done. Yeah.
With the elites, per se, lords and ladies and queens and kings
Hmm.
and
We live
uh,
by our laws, and the subjects live by another set of rules.
and SARS and all this stuff. Okay, um, the public has to do exactly what the queen says or the lord of that particular
Yeah.
province or village or whatever. It is out in the open so far as those particular countries,
Hmm.
but so far as the open free countries, it's not known due to they want to keep it in a small area. They don't want the rest of the world to know that this is actually happening throughout the world. This way, the powers that can be can show certain things that they want to allow to be seen. This is why it's a secret lifestyle. That's not, put in your face.
Well,
Hey,
what I'm saying,
individuals.
I mean, the outlook here in the near future looks pretty damn grim for these elites, the psychopaths, the psychopathic humongoloids that just are hell bent on destroying the world and the world's population. I'm hearing a lot of conspiracies that are here of late with this Ebola and forcing people to take inoculations while they're going to give them the Ebola. And, I've just thrown my hands up and say, so be it. I'm not going to partake in that.
Yeah, see, that's the
These
thing we
people
need.
want to do this stuff and follow the letter to the T. Hey, go take your shot, drink the Kool-Aid, have
Yeah,
at it.
exactly. It's
Goodbye.
about people's choices.
Oh,
It's about free will, and it's also about um, programs. Um,
well, this is where
if
I'm
you
kind of
dumbify,
sensing what
if
you're
you
involved in. Sounds
if
like
you
to
du-
me that. Go ahead.
if you dumbify the population and start sorting through it, the qualities of individuals,
Yeah.
you're going to put groups, here and groups there and groups here, who we're going to save, who we're not going to save, who has potential, who doesn't. Okay. And you start separating these dummified people, and you're going to find that the ones that are extremely dummified or programmed will be the first to go
Hmm.
with, because they're following um, the heads to try to achieve becoming one of these other groups. It's just human
Right.
nature.
Right. Well, I
The
see a benefit to
princess.
this is that, yeah, this could actually be a realistic mode of survival in the very near future. It's going to come down to those
It'll
that
come
can
down to
get
small.
along will get along.
It's going to come down to small groups,
Yep.
of individuals that understand survival as a whole.
I've been talking about this, and this is the premise of the new Dale After Dark show. I'm wanting to bring folks in who have experienced new ways of gardening with less, that are not physically able to do traditional gardening, and they're having the success with this new way of gardening with very little water. And also with, we got to bring back the knowledge of canning, of, taking what you grow and properly learning how to can it, and what are new ways of canning and dehydrating, and, because if the power goes out, and we're very limited with the amount of power, I could see the price of batteries going through the roof. They could become a black market item, just like a car battery.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that I know how to cook on a fire and how to make an oven
yeah. So yeah.
outside. So, or how to use rocks to bake things.
I can see these kind of groups that are doing what the Masters one that can be very resourceful.
Oh yeah.
In a time of need, and being a part of that. Well, I don't know if you would call it a family or not, but being part of a group. Yeah, I can see where this is going to be a beneficial thing. I don't know if this whole slavehood shit would work well for me, but I don't know. I've never tried it. I'm not sure would be a fit.
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
This is a very hard lifestyle.
Is it?
Oh yes, it is.
Okay.
If you are not into serving unconditionally and being devoted to a single person or even a couple, it's not going to work for you. Yeah. There's a lot. You have to hold back your own wants and needs in order to please your master. And not everyone can do it. I mean, that's why I'm still learning. Even at my age, I'm still learning. I'm almost 60. And I am still learning. I've done all my living, for myself over these last, 59 years. And here I'm 60 years old, and I'm willing to learn more about things that I was interested in when I was very young, before all my have-to adulthood life.
Are you totally dependent on them for your master for your survival?
No.
So you have other forms of income to pay the bills?
Yes.
Okay.
I have my own insurance. I have my own monies. I don't have to rely on him for that. However, he makes me save my own monies and use his.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, to give you an idea, he made me go down and buy underwear. And I'm just like, what? He goes, you need new underwear. Go down and get you some. Here's the money. Go.
Oh.
And I want to see them when you come back. So I bought 5 pairs.
La-di-da. There you go.
So, like I said, he provides me with everything I need. He'll go through my closet, and if he sees that I need a new blouse because that one's too worn out or it has a small stain on it, he will make me go shopping, and I hate shopping. I hate shopping for clothes with a passion. But if he sees a spot or a button torn off or even a small hole in my blouse, he makes me go shopping for a new one.
Is this gentleman a former officer?
I think so. I believe so. Yeah, he was pretty high up there. Military.
I'm kind of sensing the whole uniform thing. I know I can relate to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Personal inspections.
And he's quite a bit older than me, which is, fine. And that tells me that he is old school. He's not this new age stuff. And I didn't want the new age stuff because they don't follow protocol. They don't do curtsies. They don't say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, or yes, sir, or no, sir. They don't greet proper. I mean, it makes me sick to watch these young ones come in and try to act the lifestyle. It turns my stomach. It makes me have a bad feel about our lifestyle.
Well, it's like the balance of nature. There's good and bad and everything, and we're seeing that. Look at the vampire movies, how they've successfully integrated themselves into these kids' lives where they're acting this stuff out, and I'm like, oh, wow, really? This is still going on? and now they're promoting this stuff. Well, yeah. I'm too much
Well,
of a free spirit to adhere to anyone's rule. If anything, I don't even consider myself a trendsetter. I am that quagmire, that quirk of nature I think it's just here to observe. And I think that's why it fits so well as a host.
Here's the thing. I think this is just my own observation with the vampire thing. Okay, one, biting the neck. That's erotic, isn't it?
Well,
and it appeals to the younger generation, this eroticness.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
So you're going to have a lot of people going, wow, you're going to bite my neck and we're going to have sex? I'm all game for it. You know, our younger generation is about sex and erotic and seeing how far they can go to push the limits of the mind as well as the thoughts. There's nothing wrong with pushing your limits. It's what you're pushing it with.
Well, we've been talking now for a good hour and a half, and I think this is a good spot here. Unless you've got more you'd like to discuss, I think it's a good place to.
Well, I just wanted to express that bondage and discipline, sadomasochism, is not the same as master sub or mistress sub. It is not the same. It is a tool or a hobby, as if you must, that can be implemented into any lifestyle, not just the master sub relationship. It's a tool to fulfill your bedroom desires.
With benefits.
That's all BDSM is.
Yeah.
It's just an extra tool to enhance your bedroom lifestyle.
We'll call it extracurricular activities.
Okay.
Outside of the norm of the everyday life.
So please people out there, don't confuse BDSM with mistress slave relationship. It's not that way at all.
This is a unique choice of lifestyle that brings fulfillment.
There's no pain involved in it. It's about respect, trust, devotion, and servitude. And it's like coming home into a family that you know that you're wanted and loved in. You belong. Someone owning you, you belong to them, and they love you unconditionally.
I get it. Okay. Wow. This has been a very interesting topic that has come to light, and we've had our Citizen M here that chooses to be anonymous because this is a touchy subject, and I can understand the privacy of it. And I want to thank you for coming on and sharing this with me, and we're putting this out here to the growing family of listeners here on Dale After Dark. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing.
You're most welcome.
All right, folks, that's another episode, and I want to thank everybody that's partaking in this. And if you would, please find my YouTube channel, Dale After Dark, and subscribe to it so you'll get the updates and the new shows when they come out. I also have a Facebook wall, same, Dale After Dark, and a Google Plus account, which is linked in to what you should have, Dale After Dark as well. Yes, I'm slowly but surely getting plugged into all these different media outlets, and not media, but social networks. And my success comes from your success of clicking the likes on all the social networks and letting me know, dropping me comments, what you think. And if you have any ideas or anybody out there that would like to come on and share their deep inner sanctum secrets or your hobbies that you have, please, by all means, preppers are welcome, gardeners. If you have a uniqueness about a different thing that can help stretch the the dollar in these troubled times, drop me a line, send me a message, get a hold of me here on YouTube, my Facebook wall, send me a private message. I'm looking for guests here for upcoming shows. So with that, I'm going to say good night, and thanks again, everybody, for listening. Good night.
If you've got an interesting story or cutting-edge information and would like to be a guest on Dale After Dark, contact Dale at spiritofmountshasta.com. To hear all the latest shows and updates, make sure to subscribe by going to spiritofmountshasta.com and clicking the radio link. Dale After Dark